He's going to farm it out. The Paze might be able to crack Guma right now because of how in form he is, that if you just leave Guma on an island, Paze likes that opportunity. He's going to look to try to push that advantage to its maximum potential, and that's very scary for me for this matchup, and why I predicted T1 to win this series before we knew what was going on in the jungle.
Yeah, I just kind of thought that their series in the Kesper Cup was such a mess. I'm sure it's going to go the other way next time. That's why I predicted HLE. It had nothing to do with thinking that they were a better team, because what we learned on that day was that anyone or no one could win that series. It was ludicrous. You can go back and watch it if you have a spare, like, 16 hours. It was exceptionally long. Okay. The Jace going to be taken away here, and the Poppy and the Bard going to be removed as well. Carrier's Bard still just a permaban. You just really cannot let him have it. Teams have tested that theory, and they've realized that, no, let's just not do that. Kind of ever. As Cassio is going to be taken away, T1 will probably be banning Orianna if it's not going to leave the Rift right now, especially with Nocturne still looming. See what HLE do want to take away, though, as Vi, Nocturne, Ori seem to be the big three on offer right here.
I think the Orianna will likely be banned by T1. The Nocturne's going to be taken away here first. So
okay.
I think Lee Sin is going to be really high up in priority. We'll see if Painter is ready for the counterpick Skarner. He has played 0 games of Skarner in his career. And I think Kanavi may be looking for a first pick Lee Sin if that Orianna is in fact banned in this final spot. But instead, I kind of have this feeling T1 might trade here and do something a little bit weird as a result. But no, they do ultimately at the last possible second ban that Orianna away.
That's like the biggest demonstration of Zeka's growth that I've seen in a long time. But the Vi obviously going to be picked up here as it is incredibly high priority. We did see just yesterday Vi not necessarily perform all that well. Let's see whether Kanavi can keep that aggression up.
With no Lee Sin, they're going for the Vi first. Do they take the Lucian now away from Guma? Because Guma will play the Lucian. That's the one strong side lane he loves to play.
If they don't pick it now, it will be locked.
And it's a Vi comp, so instead they're going to take the Jhin. Which I find to be a pretty unusual choice here. Jhin works well with Vi, but I mean, it's Lucian, and it's this meta, and it's Paze, so I thought we were going to go a different direction this draft.
That's kind of astonishing to me that they do pick up the Jhin.
Do they want to play a Ryze comp here, or do they want to just simply grab a jungler right now and wait it out? There's something like a Xin could work. Camille still available, so Jhin, Camille.
Oh, so now they can go a Shen lane if they would like to.
They certainly can.
Okay, let's see what Delight wants to do, and there is the Shen.
I mean, yesterday we had such a great example, even though ultimately the game was won by one late-game Camille moment. A showcasing of how to shut Camille down with Shen. As unfortunately, poor Namgung just could not play the game.
Well, he also could not refrain from hard winning the game at the very end. The 0-8 power spike is just too strong. All right, Shen going to be locked in. Let's see what Zeka is going to put away here. It could just be the bottom lane locked in. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a Ziggs. And yeah, Gumayushi is so good at this champion. You may as well pick it up. I feel like Jhin is a fairly weak side champion as well. We are going to see Carrier and Delight kind of unlocked from this lane just based on the fact that they're playing these two champions. And this would be a little bit more of an aggressive choice. We've seen the Corki many times and has actually found a bunch of success, even if the win rate does say 48.4%. I've really liked Corki so far.
Yeah, a lot of that's from the earlier rounds, since it is a year-long stat that pops up there. I do think that I personally like Corki more in this meta. I also really love Blind Olaf because we're just not seeing a whole lot of teams be able to figure out how to deal with this champion right now. And it is very, very, it has been very well played by Doran this
He was the one that sort of made it popular, right, here in the LCK.
So I think it just took a loss recently, but that win rate's still up at 75% across quite a few games now.
And even the games where the Olaf loses, I don't think the Olaf loses in those games.
No, certainly
Even
not.
she was just kind of 1v5 most of the time.
So there's still always that possibility of the Shen top, but with the Olaf there, I think extremely unlikely. This Shen is designed for a counterpick, or designed as a counterpick for the Camille in lane, and then for roaming power later on. as Gumo will try to be self-sufficient down there into the Jhin. So banning away the Yone here, I actually really do like, because it's a lot of big team fight power, and it is Zeka, of course, into the ability to set it up with the Vi and the Shen taunts is very powerful. Because there's that Lee Sin that we were talking about earlier on, going to be banned here in the second phase.
Yeah, and this is actually quite interesting of T1 to kind of leave Painter to the Wolves when it comes to this next round of bans. The Jack's going to be taken away from Zeus, not going to be playing that one into the Olaf this time around. And is it going to be another jungle ban, just really trying to put the pressure onto Painter and get him to dig through that champion pool? It could, of course, be just playing the Olaf, I guess, but I don't think that is going to be the case with Doran on this roster. One more ban to come through. Xin Zhao, Jarvan, any of these sorts of things could be all right. The Xin is going to be the choice here to be taken away. And with the Vi already locked in, I think not having the Jarvan makes more sense. Also, because the Olaf doesn't like running around rocks.
If Holmes done his research, it has been Painter's worst champion statistically. He's 2-5 on it with an incredible win rate on everyone else in the meta. He just, unfortunately, has taken a lot of losses on Jarvan specifically. And he will avoid it here as well and go for the Pantheon pick. Ryze is still a possibility in this draft if they wanted to go with that. Might be picked away now. We'll see if Zeka wants to instead just play some strong mid-jungle synergy like Ahri here in this draft and just kind of turn this into a complete dive comp. The problem with that, though, is there's an Olaf front line that Ahri is really going to struggle to cut through. Just doesn't have the same damage throughput as a lot of other mid laners, so I think Anivia just put the wall up and keep him away.
Yeah, it's such a good pick into the Olaf. Just create as many things to put in the way as possible.
Oh yeah, what if you just get both?
And exactly, just put him in the lane with the Olaf is the theory. Zeka could be playing the Ryze. We'll see what he does decide to lock in. Zeus is the bird guy in the top lane. He just very much likes playing Anivia. Zeka could kind of play whatever he wants, but he does want a blind pick here into Faker, who has been held the last pick, and there is that Ryze. So this is the beauty of HLE and what they're capable of. Cassio is almost always banned, and then you get to just pick the Anivia, give it to Zeus, and then Ryze has a decent matchup almost no matter what. The Galio will be picked into it here, and I love Olaf Galio for a Gargoyle delivery system, not to mention you already have Camille Galio on this roster.
I think that Hanwha Life had a pretty intelligent draft here, and they had to pivot really hard when that Olaf came through, and I think they were able to get some pretty strong picks here. The Anivia is going to be nice in the lane, going to be able to zone the Olaf in team fights, and could potentially even prevent him from joining said team fights. But when I look at these two teams and how they clash in 5v5, I want T1's comp every time. Who are you going to Vi ult here? The Jhin that's a million miles away? I think most of the time you're going to be Vi ulting a Camille that's up at the front line, already setting up the fight for T1, hoping to burst that down. The carries are so difficult to actually get to. It's really just one major carry there in the Jhin, but there's so much front line. You'll never be able to lock down the Olaf. And I think what T1 have put together here is they saw a Vi dive composition, Olaf comes through, and they've set up all of the answers here in this one. Outside of 5v5s, though, I think Kanavi might pick this team apart. They could definitely get a massive lead here. The Corki 2-item spike is going to be really strong. They've got Realm Warp to move around the map. Hanwha Life definitely have a strong draft that they can finesse here.
They certainly can. I think side lanes are going to be a huge deal for Hanwha. Let's see whether they can make it work as we get under the rift here for game number 1 at the Saturday Showdown. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, under the rift for game number 1.
I think it's so fitting that in Painter's debut game, and in a moment of shock to everyone, the observers go to 80 carries on the opening during the fan chants, because I think everybody knows that that is what this series today is likely going to be completely about. They do drop those wards down in that bush as they are going to clash here with no supports. Delight coming over first, as right now Keria is supporting Painter and looking for a potential topside play here.
Yeah, Painter already just getting through Kanavi's jungle here on this top side. No vision available. And he will just kind of clear everything from what we can see. Kanavi already rotating over, though. Got word of what was going on here as Gumayushi just going to push Pays away. They know that the Camille wasn't in the lane. As Ignite down from Doran just lights Zeus on fire. Kanavi now in trouble as the hookshot wall dive comes in, but Delight is already roaming up. And Faker just vacating the lane. This is actually huge for HLE with this mid lane control. I think we kind of know that Zeus should have a relative amount of control against Doran, at least for the first few levels. But I was questioning whether Faker was going to be able to push Zeka around in the early levels or not.
Yeah.
It looks like he is sacrificing that lane in order to try to help this jungle. It's not necessarily working.
Not necessarily. We'll see what Painter is going to be able to do here once he returns to the jungle after this first back, as that's going to be, I think, a lot of what they were trying to do there is slow Kanavi down on the cross. Now, if you can come over here and actually fight for Krugs, could get pretty interesting here. As it looks like Kanavi, aware of this, is just going to drop Krugs entirely. I actually think this is a wise choice. Go return to his side of the jungle and not give Painter the opportunity to challenge there. And that will be what we end up seeing here. Painter had the level 3 advantage had they fought there.
Yeah, hookshot wall dive does come in onto Delight here, who's been lit on fire. Gets the shield, but still has to flash. That's a huge deal. Painter now roaming over. Not a lot of vision here for
Good snipe, potentially as well.
Yeah. Let's see. The Shen is able to make it out. But is Gumayusi going to survive? The answer is yes, because Painter has actually prioritized being elsewhere. There's the flash, but the Deadly Flourish still connects here.
We have had
will, though, survive.
Such a shift in playstyle across our LCK teams this week, where in the past, I think they 100% try to force the kill onto Guma, and they don't even track where Kanavi is because they're like, okay, well, he didn't do Krugs. He's probably far enough away. But in this meta now, this week, it's like, you just only take the certain play. And I think the certain play is maybe not to dive this one either.
This is actually very cute. You saw both Zeka and Kanavi moving down. Zeka going to be interrupted here by Faker, who is very low himself. But as they were walking down, they sort of realized that dive wasn't actually going to happen. So both of them press back, try and get themselves a little bit of a cheater recall. And T1 do come out on top as far as the exchange of money is concerned. But it is good to see HLE actually protecting the bottom lane. As Painter comes on over, he'll be able to push Kanavi away from his Raptor camp.
I thought with that charge Q, he's going to get all those instantly, but not quite able to. Gets it with the second Q there. Clears up those little chickens, takes that money. T1 have been very annoying, I would say, in this early game. You know, slowing Kanavi down on the cross jungle there. Coming over, getting the flash out of Guma, getting the flash out of Delight on the initial play. Haven't gotten any lethal damage done in this game, but it has certainly been a lot of small advantages that have stacked up. Faker with that extra pressure in mid grabs a plate as well. And you can see these gold leads are across the board here now for T1 in every lane, including the jungle, where Painter has that small little extra advantage in camps as well from the level 1. Painter and T1's Academy team play the most classic standard League of Legends that you could ever imagine, and I think that that is showing here in this T1 game as well. They're just going to play for small advantages, not take big risks, but know that the draft has a lot of power. Faker, though,
yeah. Oh, that Justice Punch was kind of beautiful here from Faker, looking for the double taunt, only finds one. Zeus might be egged underneath this turret, just barely going to survive. And Doran looks for the axe, but doesn't find it. My God, on sub 10 health, he'll survive.
Two solo laners with these really nice little outplays. And another one right here.
He had 1 HP.
Literally 1 HP, I was told. Oh my God.
Okay, well, there's the flash into the egg, and the Olaf is actually not in turret range, so Zeus will just die. That's first blood, and a massive blunder from the HLE top laner.
He's like, I'll give it to him. It was 1 HP. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. That was a huge blunder, as you say, and that is going to warp the entirety of this early game on the top side of the map. Look at this buy from Doran.
Yeah.
Doesn't have teleport either, but because he gets the kill, just gets to walk back. He's dancing on his way back, I think.
Yeah, that's a teleport back from Zeus, so at least he will get up to the wave. But man, that is not what you want to see. One thing about what Doran has done here is he's taken the Ignite, which is really going to help him in that 1v1, especially early on. But it means he doesn't have Ghost for later on in the game, which Ragnarok does give you movement speed, things like that. You do have the ability to catch up, but not going to be as deadly as some of the other Olafs that we have seen in these team fights. We see this one more time.
If he doesn't get kills, it doesn't matter. He just flashes on him, and he's out of turret range, like you said. I think Zeus did not actually calculate for that. I I really, like earlier he was playing around that wall and he's like, if he gets under turret aggro and I wall him in while I'm in egg, like he might actually die, or I'm at least going to get most of his health bar. That was cool, but this one was a bridge too far. And if he doesn't get kills or get kill pressure with the Ignite, then I feel like, oh, you 100% wish you went for the Ghost in this game. But because he's able to get first blood, I think he's already feeling pretty happy with the Summoner spell choice for now.
Definitely doing very, very well. Isaiah's still going to be able to move up, grab some Crystalline Overgrowth, and will be able to grab a plate there as well. So the gold lead will be mitigated somewhat. But in a long lane with no egg and a carrier moving up, this is going to be such a rough time.
Carrier has flash too.
Yeah, thankfully Zeus has flash, as he elected not to use that. Painter is going to come up, and Zeus, I think, is just going to accept his fate and die. A second kill onto the Anivia, and this is not the Zeus that we've been used to seeing on this champion.
Yeah, no, he's... I mean, after what happened in the initial play and he survived, I was like, that's it. Yeah, I know it. Maybe he didn't calculate he was going to live on 1 health, but he was playing with fire there. Ascaria is still here.
Yeah, Wall Dive not going to quite connect onto Zeka, but still going to be putting on a lot of pressure here. And almost with his flashback available.
Kanavi's coming up topside now, but there is nothing to get till those grubs spawn. It's like he's just going to do Krugs, and then maybe they'll try to put that focus onto the Krugs, or sorry, not Krugs, Grubs. Post-Krugs.
Yep.
A lot of little things to get there on the top side. Adoran just gets to get a free back here. We'll be able to catch most of this wave, and now Painter is on the top side for a potential Grub contest.
Oh dear, there's the flash in from Carrier, flash away from Zeus, but Hayes is not even interested in following, just happy that the Summoner spell comes in. And Zeus just taking so much damage. Carrier walks up and ignites him just for fun. And now the curtains have been called. Does Zeus manage to get out of the way? And the answer is no for that one, and no for the final one as well. Faker also not going to go for the dive.
They got Zeka's Realm Warp on the play. Now, Grubs do go over to Kanavi on the top side that I was mentioning earlier, but there's a lot of potential value there gained. And the Anivia pushed out a lane again. So this is the second play here with Painter communicating with the team here confidently in his debut game. Comes over, and he's just like, we got him, we got him, we got him.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry for taking the kill. I think that is absolutely fine.
On a Pantheon at this early game, I think you're warranted to take it.
Yeah. But Faker is now taking a bit of damage, but is otherwise just fine here in this mid lane. Slight lead, I guess, for Zeka did crop up for a moment, but otherwise it is all T1. And more plate money going over to Doran. The more this Olaf gets, the more dangerous he is going to be here in this game.
I'm just happy
I don't think he was supposed to have a 10 CS, 10 CS lead at this stage.
Oh. I'm just happy to see, I mean, as someone who's watching Painter's debut, how vocal he is. Every time he's on camera, he is sharing a lot of information. You can see it on the player cams to the bottom of the screen there. He is chatty, and that's often something we don't see with rookies who get pushed into the limelight right away, as they don't communicate enough, and sometimes that ends up being why they get subbed right back out.
Especially rookies that join the most popular team in the world.
Yeah, and also in one of the biggest rivalries right now in the world. This is his first game in the Legend group, a very important one, as T1 could push to 2 wins ahead of HLE, currently in first place in the standings. If they win this, pretty big one.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Ona is taking a fair bit of damage here from Zeus, who is still sitting on just his Catalyst. We'll be able to clear out that wave and move on.
Yeah, the Catalyst is great for, you know, sustaining the lane and getting your health back up, but when you get Dove and Burst, not a whole lot of value as Zeka will get taunted.
Yeah, but in goes Kanavi. No Justice Punch here for Faker, as the Q is going to miss there, and he tries to get out, and it'll be successful. In goes Painter now, joining the fray, and does have that shield. Doran's rotating over. Faker's coming back as Painter flashes out, but there's the Vault Breaker. Kanavi will just be executed, and that was a massive overextension. Delight turns up. He was delivered by the Vi. But HLE now down 3 kills with nothing to show for it.
They put him in the circus on his first game. They just said, you're on the circus now. You were going to ult in when Faker goes for this taunt play. And then Kanavi shows up. But because Kanavi used his CC early, Faker is just able to ult out. And that's the biggest part of all of this, is he's just like, all right, well, there's no more buttons to stop me. I'm out of here. And then Painter comes in and buys time because he's Pantheon. And then Carrier rotates over. But this is, I mean...
It's actually so sick.
It's just
Yeah, Faker just ults out onto the Pantheon as the Pantheon is ulting in. So they literally just trade places.
Yeah. And then, what's Painter going to do? Buy time. Puts his shield up during this taunt. Flashes away. Kanavi flashes to follow. And then Keria shows up. Faker gets the knock-up. And Keria ults. Now, if you watch that play back, the craziest thing is that the second Faker goes in for the taunt play and Kanavi is shown, Keria stops walking bottom and starts walking mid. Like, they're thinking that far ahead. He's like, all right, I think this play could be extended. I'm already on my way up. I'm not going to leave Faker hanging. We are going to fight for this. We are going to play for this. Like, Keria instantly reacted there and is able to help clean up there at the end of the fight and almost even takes Zeka with them. Doesn't get his flash or anything like that as there wasn't enough damage fall up there. But still, it's a massive lead here for T1. 3,000 gold at 12 minutes, and they're looking for double dragon.
Yeah, this Hex Tech should be taken here by T1. There is vision available, and there's the Realm Warp over as well at C, where the Zeka makes his way in. The taunt from Faker comes down as Delight gets the taunt flash. Faker, though, just going to turn it into an engage of his own, and Kanavi is dead yet again. This time, though, Gumayushi's here in the brawl and takes down his former support. Zeka looking for some names here as Pay's taking a lot of damage, but the curtains are going to be called as a result. Faker gets in there. Gumayushi taking so much damage and will be executed. Painter locks him down. And Faker says good night to his former AD. Out goes Delight, but in goes Doran. And out he goes again. As Zeka is going to look for a bit of damage. Deadly Flourish is indeed deadly, and Delight will be sniped.
This is all of a sudden just starting to be a Harlem Globetrotters game.
It really is.
This is insane. So they focused Kanavi down. As we're not done yet. Keria is going to set up Faker.
Yeah, Zayas in a lot of trouble here. Does get the wall down, but he is still egged. And oh man, to lose your passive in this moment as well is just very disappointing. He'll be taken out. Might have been able to get a teleport off, by the way.
Now. Yeah, might have. But okay, let's go back to this play. So Kanavi initially is the target here for T1 because they want to be able to secure this dragon. It's Painter who makes that call, stuns Kanavi, they burst him down. Now they have to retreat because they put all the buttons on cooldown. Keria gets isolated and killed. And so it's jungle for support. And so HLE want to try to push them back here. This is why Guma plays aggressively, because if Painter's still alive, there's still a chance for the steal, but he just gets punished immediately as he and Faker are just switching positions again, reminding everyone what Urgot's ult used to do.
Yep.
And then this snipe. He's like, yeah, comes off cooldown. Hey, I'll try for it. And then he's just got him.
Got him. Got him indeed. Keria also going to get Delight as Paze is moving over. Doran trying to get in here. Delight, pretty good Shadow Dash to get over that wall. And he will be able to keep himself alive. Zayas clearing out waves in this top lane. And 3.6k is the gold lead. It's an Ocean Soul this game as well, which honestly isn't too bad here for T1. I imagine Doran would like to have an Ocean Soul. Feels like a bit of an Olafy soul.
Yeah. How do HLE recover now? I think the game plan has to just be see if you can get one dragon and even sacrifice Kanavi to do it, and then just scale with your.
I think they're going to need some of like you know Michael's secret stuff.
Yeah.
So after game one, they're going to need some of Peanut's secret stuff in the coach's booth. You know, they're going to have that pep talk, and then Michael Jordan will come in and say, "This is Peanut's secret stuff. You're going to have some of this, and it'll make you strong."
I'm pretty sure Michael Jordan watches the LCK.
I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah, I think
GOAT
there's
recognizes
like no
GOAT, right?
Exactly.
Like that's how it goes.
Exactly. I think he and Faker probably hang out in the offseason.
Yeah. They probably like play chess together or something like that. I assume that's what the greatest of all time do with each other. It's okay. T1 defending here towards his top side. The Baron is nowhere near spawning, but Herald is here.
Yeah, and HLE just don't have any control. I think, again, you've got an Anivi, you've got a Rise. T1 have a 4,000 gold lead, but you can just sit back and clear the waves and try to scale up. I know that team fights are going to be really hard for HLE, as we've described already and as we've seen in some of these scrappy fights, because you're playing into so much CC, so much frontline for the Jhin, who, by the way, just doesn't miss, as it turns out. So now you just kind of have to hope that you could still do it anyways and hope for a late game. But Kanavi, that's not the kind of guy he is. He doesn't wait. He doesn't scale. He fights.
Certainly not. But now Carrier is going to get engaged on here. There's a Realm Warp over. Cease and Desist comes down onto the Camille, who throws out the ulti. Painter gets himself out of there, and the curtain call is so good. Kanavi just gets slammed with an axe, and Doran is not going to be able to flash over that wall because he doesn't have it available, but it will still be Shelly going over to T1, and once again, Kanavi in the dirt.
Well, you know, I think we're just gonna have to start talking about game 2 now.
Yeah, I was already there, Wolf. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I wanted to do the thing where we go, well, how could they come back? And there's a lot of wave clear. Just don't force those fights. And Kanavi said, you know what? Look at that player name right next to the HLE in my ID. That's who I am. It's me. You can identify him right here. He's charging right there. He's channeling his Q. He just gets stopped immediately here. Ults the Camille, which is, again, like I said in the draft, like, who are you going to ult in this draft? Well, he was the only reasonable target in this case. And then T1 show up. It's such a quintessential T1 game where it looks like, oh, we got the numbers advantage. You don't. They will be there. They're on their way every time.
And now the gold leads to the tune of about 1,000 for everyone on the top side of the map. It's actually been a relatively quiet game for Pays, honestly, as far as his advantage. As Delight gets that Twilight's Refuge down to at least save some of that health bar, but now the turrets begin to fall. And he was already like a 4,000 gold lead without a turret going down. Now there are 2 dead, so it's a 5.5k lead at 18 minutes in this game. This is a shellacking already.
Not even close. And I think a lot of this game has come down to scrappy fights that HLE took that had thin margins where they just couldn't find the win they were looking for, including that last Herald fight. In their mind, in Kanavi's mind, maybe they were like, okay, maybe we actually get the kill onto Carrier, and then we show up, we have the numbers advantage, they trickle in, we win the fight. But that was their same idea on the mid play. When Faker went for that taunt, they failed it there. And the Anivia was always going to be behind in this game. They tried to find fights elsewhere, and it just has not worked. So they just pushed themselves further and further behind. And now it's just pretty simple here for T1. Doran holding the cross angle here with that blast cone. Good deletion there by Zayas to prevent him from getting in the way he wants to. Now maybe he can zone the Olaf.
Yeah, Battle Herald does come down here, but she is just going to walk on forward. There is Doran claiming Shelly. We'll be able to get that charge. Gets a nice little knock up there as well, but my goodness.
The damage from that
Yeah,
poke.
That's just one axe, I guess.
It's the way they pushed away was so desperate.
Oh, Carrier in a bit of an awkward spot here. Does sidestep the stun very nicely as Faker looking to make his way back in. Captive Audience comes down, taunt just onto Zayas. Loses half of his health bar. Gumayushi as well looking a little worse for wear. And T1 just look like they're kind of toying with them right now.
And Doran is just like, yeah, you guys keep him busy. I'm going to push this inner turret by myself. And with a massive wave, someone has to respond. Zayas can't take the short way around. He's got to take the long way around. And they're just whittling down this mid turret. The bottom turret loses 2 plates. And HLE just don't have an inch in this game. And the Anivia wall they used onto Doran to try to zone him out so they could maybe look for a big fight in mid is just ignored by the Herald because Doran uses the channel, which gets him over the wall, and they don't end up losing a bloody fight, but T1 get everything they want, but namely that Ocean Soul point.
Yeah, huge deal here. Faker has done the most damage in the game somehow, but
Doran
it's also
and
under
Faker.
10k. All right, well, there's another taunt to come on through. That damage number is just going to go up, as we see there. Moving towards that 10k mark is now Delight standing on a ward. Needs to be very careful. Does get a control ward down because it looks like red buff may still belong to HLE. Zayas holding the wave in mid.
Faker's just min-maxing this game. I mean, he knows that they can't punish him, so he just keeps going for these taunt plays.
Yeah, may as well walk up to them.
I mean, there's a world right now where even though it might not look like it because Painter's playing so well, we've seen these crazy snipes. If we were doing POG, it'd definitely be Faker for me right now. He set up so many of the traps into HLE. As here comes Carrier on a ward, but this turret is very low.
Yeah, it's kind of scary for Gumayushi to even be here defending. He's very, very close to his transformation on the Mirror Mana. And Carrier is going to have that back denied. There's the transformation to come on through. It's pretty strong. especially with the fact that it's Stormrazor Ghostblade here from Pays. Not exactly the most powerful 2-item spike you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, it's...
Zeka does get 2 items himself. Still looking to actualize, but is getting closer.
It's so frustrating when you're the AD carry who really this game hasn't been about at all, even though we kind of set it up like it might be. And yes, he did get caught trying to play a little fancy on that dragon, but he had to kill Painter, otherwise they lose the dragon or potentially have a 50-50. But he's like, I'm on my 2-item spike, but the game is done. You know, that's the frustrating part.
Oh, Pays gonna have to cleanse here, as they're not even able to kill him, even with that crystallized down. And there is the curtain call. Zayas tanking a bunch of these bullets, but no one really wants to. Now Kanavi comes on over to play some defense. And Faker all the while is just pushing here in this top lane. Carrier moving over as well, just to try and catch anyone.
Faker
trying to rotate up and defend.
So it's very scary to try to keep this turret alive. The second this turret dies, by the way, T1 explode all over the map because there's just no way to defend all of their aggression. It's the one thread that HLE are hanging by right now. And T1 are trying to turn that into a tool where they have this Galio set up with the flanking Camille. Like, if you guys want to defend this turret, you mess it up even a little bit, the game will actually just end. HLE played it well. They played defensively around it. They don't overextend. They don't have anyone isolated. But they're still hanging on by that wave clear a little bit here in this game. I just don't know if it's ever really going to matter.
This is the thing. They've gone for so many Hail Mary fights so far, and not one of them has even been nearly successful with how well T1 have just been playing it out defensively. And then, as soon as they're done, no mistakes, no way in, and they just suffocate Harmalife Esports so that this gold lead only increases until HLE feel desperate enough to try and go for another skewed fight in favor of T1. It's beautiful to watch, unless you're an HLE fan.
I mean, the style of... Okay, Guma should be able to back away. This turret might actually finally go down here.
Well, Painter is going to go for the stun as he gets underneath this turret. Does get the Aegis out, and that is going to help him there as the Realm Warp does come in from Zeka just to back up the rest of his teammates.
Ocean Soul.
Yeah, off to the side, 20 seconds on that Ocean Soul that you were talking about. Justice Punch will be interrupted as Gumayushi getting a lot of damage onto Faker as in goes to life, but they look to turn it. Cease and Desist comes in, there's a heroic entrance, and down goes the Corki. They do manage to kill Carrier, but I think he's okay with it. It's Kanavi in the backline will just pop like a balloon. Down goes Zeus as well as the curtains have been called, and never has that ability been named more correctly. As down will go everyone on HLE except for Zeka. And I think T1 will be able to finish this one off here.
Yeah, I think T1 were, for a brief moment, considering if they ever even really needed to get that dragon, but with that Ennard being as healthy as it is, and with this composition, they're not going to be able to end it right here at 23.5 minutes, but we'll go and take this dragon. But this is another showcasing of Faker absorbing so much pressure. Like, he's dangling himself out here as a potential target. Well, watch what happens when Delight goes for the engage. What does the team do? They instantly go to the other side. Why? Because no one can stop Faker from ulting. So he basically reverses this entire fight. And Delight's engage is worthless because the rest of the team is collapsed on, and then Faker joins. He turns an engage onto him. Well, not his team turns an engage onto him into a winning team fight on the other side. And then Faker is the closer, goes in on top. It's just so clean, but he's done it so many times this game on the Galio. Look at this. That's
just ridiculous.
That's Thomas looking at this and he says, we need this every game. This is the perfect game.
He's now got an example for what every game should look like. And he can just see whether he can trace that line over every other one of these games. I mean, the beautiful part is the fact that these gold leads that you're seeing on your screen are everyone else other than the bottom lane. So T1 demonstrating they can play through topside if they want to, if they get the draft that requires it. And they absolutely did this time around.
I will address very briefly the elephant in the room as well. I think the pick that a lot of people have been most critical of on Owner this season has been the Pantheon, and Painter is just, he's exactly where he needs to be every single time in this game, and it doesn't matter anymore because now I feel like you could be wherever you want as T1 and HLE cannot punish, but his engages have been crisp. Look at this one.
Yep, Summoner's Rift is where he's supposed to be, and he nailed it. He's right there right now. In goes Faker looking for the angle. Taunt is decent, but Faker goes golden. Delight just explodes. It's a double for Carrier somehow. No idea how, really, as the Glacial Storm comes over, but it's really not much of a storm, you know. And Carrier, he goes in. He is going to be the punishment onto Zeus. No egg, no chance. And Gumayushi will also be put out of his misery. Zeka, the last man standing once again, still hasn't died this game, but hasn't done much of anything else either. As Doran just throws an axe on his way past, and they look for the Baron.
This week is the shift of the meta back away from Hanwha's style. Gen.G playing the slow, controlled Gen.G type game, right? Is a big bounce back week. T1 against D+, just playing defensively and then punishing them. And in this game, doing the exact same. And it looks like the style of Kanavi, which pushed the whole LCK into this aggressive, constant team fighting style of play, is kind of falling off in our Legend group right now. I think we're watching it in real time, not in this fight, but in the attempted fights to try to get back into the game here for HLE, falling flat on their face despite having a Rise, despite having an Anivia. And in this game, T1 could do no wrong, and they're just constantly waiting, picking this team apart, punishing them at every turn. When the lead is this big, it's hard to really even criticize HLE in these moments because they're just trying to open their eyes on the map.
Yeah, I mean, like, the criticism is for everything that happened at the beginning, and that was definitely not great, but it also goes all the way back to the draft. And we actually have an interview with Coach Hom saying, like, I'm personally sorry because I didn't do enough work in the draft. I also think that this draft is just kind of crap. I'm not going to lie. And the priority on the buy, I think, needs to go down. I just don't think this champion is that good, and definitely not good enough to be first picked when everything else is up and available, and then run into the Olaf trap that we saw, because T1, they had right of first selection, and I was wondering why they chose blue side instead of the first pick that everyone's been picking.
I mean,
but I think we know.
There are a lot of champions that you think of like that's the Giga Vi pairing angle, even in the top lane. But neither of these mid champions, or one of them is being played in the top lane, are it, really, in terms of setting up the buy. But they were dealing with the Olaf. The Olaf pick was such a master class in the draft for T1. And then Doran just pushed it too far and got a solo kill. And then they played through him and took Zeus off the map. And then Hanwha tried to force mid, and it just fell apart. As here's that Olaf right here.
Yep, Zeka is going to be able to get out. Does have a Seraph shield, so the Realm Warp will not be interrupted, and he won't do enough damage. The Actualizer has been completed, but it's a 15,000 gold lead. Pace.
Pace just doing a funny thing. He's even got the comedy atlas.
There we
He's
go.
got everything.
Oh, nice flash away there from Doran. Kanavi basically just explodes before anything really happens. Zeka does have a fair bit of damage as they try to go through the base gates, but Zeus is just kind of dead. Yeah, Gumayushi's also being taken down here as it's a very split fight. And T1 now have two of their opposition dead. Only Zeka there with damage, really, as they look to break open the front door. And Faker gets the flash taunt. The justice is delivered to the Rise. And the Nexus turrets will now be taken down. T1 with utter domination here in Game 1 against HLE. And we're going to need a lot more from the boys in orange if they are going to stand up to T1 today.
Legends. And the rest of this Legend group is going to have to follow up because this style right now seems to be the one that is winning, and it is winning super hard.
너무 이겨. 살짝 미드 막았다. 미드 막. 보자. 봐줘. 한번 보자. 좋아. 봐줘. 그냥 무조건 이겨. 아, 코르키 봤어. 수아나. 나는 못해. 코르키다. 노플. 위에 좋아. 애니메. 없이 줘. 나이스. 이대로 가면 이 라인 달리면 끝내면 할 듯. 내가 밀어낼 생각도 할게.
풀 다 돌았어.
방향이. 라인만 못 들어갈 때 듯. 아래 거부터요. 아래 거부터. 볼 수 있고. 자, 아래 거부터 치자. 라인 안 들어온다.
라인 쪽 아래 거 있어.
위에. 나이스.
올리네.
나이스.